Thanks for coming to watch my video today. My name is Valerie from myrainbowcoalition.blogspot.com, and I'm coming to you today with a process video wherein I'm going to scrap lift one of my own layouts. This is the layout that I'm going to scrap lift. It's of my niece and this funny little habit that she's picked up of crossing her legs and sitting up really straight. There are a couple different things about this layout that I find interesting. I really like the quotes from that quote paper. It's the green and the gray and the lighter gray. I like that number paper in the background and that matte print. So I'm going to scrap lift that. The layout that I'm going to do is going to be almost an exact replica of that layout, but because this is a childhood picture of me, this is from my 11th birthday, I am definitely going to put this in a different album than the other layout, so it's not going to bother me too much that this is almost the same layout. So here are the supplies that I'm going to use. These are My Mind's Eye enamel dots and Indie Chic decorative brads. This is a cream alpha sticker sheet by Basic Gray, and these are matte print thickers that you're seeing now in a nice thin font. These are some Recollections flare badges, and this is some Ruby MAC paper. So this is a lime green cardstock from Basil Basics. Here we have some notebook paper from Basics collection. And then I have some cardstock in some various other colors. I'm just going to start here with removing the branding strip from the background paper. And I do keep that branding strip because it's a nice little print of Jack's. It's a orange with the cute little print on it. So I always keep my branding strips if they're a cute print. So the foundation of that layout was a horizontal band using that white notebook paper. And then the photo was matted out in green cardstock. I did need to trim up my picture a little bit in order to get the green cardstock to fit because that was a little scrap. And in this case, I'd rather trim a little bit off of my photo, not to have to mess with the larger sheet of cardstock that I had. So here I'm using an EK Success adhesive roller. It's not my favorite adhesive, but you see it was marked down at Walmart from $7 to $1.50, so you can't argue with a good price. Once my photo was matted, I started putting together the rest of my layout. I'm making sure not to put too much adhesive because I know that I'm going to have to put some of that green paper behind. And I'm just tucking that behind there so that it looks like it's a full sheet, but I don't have enough to make a full sheet to go back behind there. So I'm going to just use 3 blocks wide because that's what I have, unlike the 4 blocks wide that I have in the previous layout. So I played with it there a little bit. I decided that since the gray quote was on the left at the bottom of the top row, I would put it on the right at the bottom of the bottom row. So it's going to take me a little while to find the placement that I like of this picture. The problem I was having was that I really like it over there where it is on the left, but I don't like how the 2 greens look right up against each other. I also have a lot to say about this picture. I can think, just looking at it, I know I want to talk about my hair and about my hat and about that outfit. Maybe about the fact that it was my birthday. So I want the picture to break up that notebook paper into a couple of different sections so that I can have different areas to write. So I turned off the camera just so I could put in a little bit of stitching like the inspiration layout had. I put a little bit more stitching. There's some at the top and the bottom of that quote paper, in addition to the zigzag across the top and bottom of the notebook paper and all the way around the border of the whole layout. I decided to mat out the picture in gray. I know it's the same color as that background paper, but since the background paper is a pattern, it doesn't bother my eye as much for it to be the same colors next to each other as it did for the green to be right next to each other. So now I'm going to look at that matte print letter thicker set, and I'm just trying to find a sarcastic title that's going to work for me. So the first thing I'm going to look at is maybe nice. And then maybe nice clothes, CL. I don't have an O, so I can just snip the tail off of the Q. But as I'm looking, I see that clothes really isn't going to work. So I start looking a little further, and it looks like outfit is going to be the word that I have available letters for. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera to put on the title and do the journaling. All right, so now I'm back with the journaling done, and I also, in addition to having nice outfit in the title, I also put a subtitle of how embarrassing. I started doing the embellishment, and it's just the same type of embellishment that we saw in the previous layout, with one of those quotes cut out and then a flare badge and 2 enamel dots in sort of a triangle. And in the inspiration layout, I had 3 points of embellishment. I think really here I have enough going on that speaks for itself, and I don't really want to add a whole lot more to that. So instead of 3 points of embellishment, I really think I'm going to use only 2 and have like a nice diagonal line pulling your eye down from the upper left to the lower right. So I'm going to get out that Indie Chic decorative brad set, and instead of a brad, I'm really just going to pull this gray banner. I like how the pattern of it doesn't conflict with the rest of the layout. And just like in the inspiration layout, I am going to use a single square as the basis for each of my points of embellishment. So that's why I'm cutting out another quote block. I know I want it up there in that left corner, but I also know that I don't want to use the entire quote block. So I'll play a little bit with this, how much of the quote block that I actually want to include, and whether I'm going to use that banner vertically or horizontally. And it looks like I'm going to decide to use it horizontally. I want that banner to have a little bit of dimension, so I'm just using my fingernails to curl it up a little bit. I didn't feel like the dimension was maintained once I got it adhered to the paper, so I just used a little bit of foam mounting tape to pop the tails of that banner up a little bit. This is a great tip that I learned from watching process videos, to turn your layout over so that you can cut off anything that hangs off the edge, because it's then really easy to see the line of where your background paper ends. So the cluster of embellishment up in the corner is going to be very similar to the one that's down to the right of the picture, and that's going to include 2 enamel dots and a flare badge. I chose the enamel dots based on the colors that were in the paper and the ones that I hadn't used very much of. So both that aqua color and the orange are in the paper, but they aren't as prominent as the green is, so I wanted to bring those up a little more. So I'm going to pull out the inspiration layout and just put them side by side and think about whether I think that this layout is done or if I feel like I need to do some more. And I think I'm really happy with both of them. They are very similar. If you weren't looking that closely, you might even remember them as being the same layout. But again, it doesn't bother me because these are going to be in different albums, very separate, and I feel like the theme of having that number background is going to work for both of them. So thanks again for coming to see my video today. If you've liked this video or would like to get more information about my digital templates or my scrapbooking resources, you can look me up at myrainbowcoalition.blogspot.com. Thanks for watching.